Everyone faces storms in life. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, how much money you have, how popular you may be, or how strong you appear on the outside. Life has a way of bringing storms to every doorstep. Some people hide it well. They smile, they laugh, they post pictures that look perfect, but deep down inside they are battling a storm no one else can see. It may be the storm of rejection, the storm of failure, the storm of a broken heart, or the storm of a past they cannot escape. And while it may seem like others are sailing through calm waters, I want you to know this truth. Everyone at some point faces the wind and the waves. No one is immune. Life never promised us that every day would be sunny. We are not guaranteed a life free of pain or hardship. The storms come in many forms: a sudden illness that changes everything, a job loss that leaves you wondering how to feed your family, a loved one taken too soon, a dream shattered by unexpected circumstances. The storms are real and they hurt. They knock us down, they shake us. They make us question everything we thought we knew. And sometimes they come without warning when we least expect them, catching us off guard and unprepared. You may be walking through a storm right now. You may be feeling like the waves are crashing down so hard you can barely breathe. You may feel like no one understands, like no one sees your pain, like you're drowning in silence. But you are not alone. The pain you feel is not weakness. The tears you cry are not signs of failure. They are proof that you're human, that you are living in a world that is broken, a world that often doesn't make sense. But even in that brokenness, even in the storm, there is still hope. There is something powerful that happens when we acknowledge that storms are part of life. When we stop pretending we have it all together and we admit that we are struggling, we open the door for something greater to come in. We open the door for healing, for help, for comfort. It is in the darkest moments that the smallest light shines the brightest. It is in the storm that we learn where our true strength comes from. Not from ourselves, not from our titles or achievements, but from something beyond us, something greater than us. And when we realize that everyone faces storms, we also realize we are not alone in our suffering. One of the greatest lies the enemy wants you to believe is that you're the only one going through what you're going through, that no one else could possibly understand, that you must be weak because you're struggling. But I want you to know that's not true. The truth is, everyone faces storms, even the people who inspire you, even the ones who seem to have it all together. Even the strongest among us have cried behind closed doors. Even the faithful have questioned God in the middle of the night. Even the hopeful have felt hopeless at times. You are not strange, you are not cursed. You are human, and the beautiful thing about storms is that they don't last forever. Even the strongest hurricane eventually runs out of power. The darkest night eventually gives way to morning. The rain eventually stops and the sun shines again. And when it does, you will look back and see how far you've come. You will realize that the storm didn't destroy you, it shaped you, it taught you, it humbled you, it made you stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. It opened your eyes to what truly matters. So if you're in the middle of a storm, don't give up. Don't lose hope. This moment will not define your life. It is only a chapter, not the whole story. Keep going, keep praying, keep believing, because just as storms come to all, peace comes too, healing comes, restoration comes, and when it does, you will have a story to tell. A story that will encourage someone else in their storm. A story that says, I've been there, I made it through, and you can too. Everyone faces storms, but with faith, perseverance, and grace, you can weather them, and come out stronger on the other side. Jesus is present in the storm. That truth is more than just comforting words. It is the anchor of our souls in the fiercest battles of life. When the wind howls, when the waves crash, when the darkness covers the sea, and the heart trembles with fear, the presence of Jesus changes everything. So many of us think we have to fight our battles alone, carry our burdens in silence, and stand strong in our own strength. But the message of the gospel is not that you are alone. It is that God Himself came down to walk with you through every valley, every fire, every storm. There's a powerful story in the Bible where the disciples were caught in a terrible storm. The wind was raging, the sea was tossing their boat violently, and they feared for their lives. They had followed Jesus. They had seen His miracles, and yet in that moment fear overwhelmed them. But Jesus was there. He wasn't far away, He wasn't watching from a distance, He was in the boat with them, and even though He was sleeping at first, He was not absent. His presence meant that the storm would never have the final say. Sometimes in our lives it feels like Jesus is sleeping. We cry out in prayer and don't hear an answer. We ask for help, and it seems like nothing changes. But I want you to know that silence is not absence. Delay is not denial. The Lord has not forgotten you. He is with you in the storm, right there in the middle of the chaos, right there when the world is falling apart. And when the time is right, He stands and speaks with authority, "Peace, be still," and the winds obey Him. The waves calm. The storm surrenders to His voice. There is no storm too great for Jesus, no pain too deep, no fear too powerful. His presence brings peace that the world cannot understand, not a peace based on circumstances, but a peace that remains in spite of them, a peace that whispers to your heart, "You are safe, because I am here." You may not always feel it, you may not always see it, but He is there, in the hospital room, in the courtroom, in the broken home, in the sleepless nights. He is the friend who never leaves, the shepherd who never abandons his sheep. You see, Jesus never promised that we wouldn't face storms. In fact, He told us we would. "In this world you will have trouble," He said. "But take heart, for I have overcome the world." That is the hope we hold on to, that even when the waves rise and the boat rocks, the one who walks on water is with us, and He does not panic. He does not fear. He does not retreat. He stands strong and He stands close, and that makes all the difference. Some people think that faith in Jesus means an easy life, a life without struggle or sorrow. But true faith isn't about avoiding storms. It's about knowing who is in the boat with you when the storm comes. It's about trusting His power, trusting His timing, trusting His love, because He doesn't just bring peace. He is peace. His presence alone changes the atmosphere. Where fear once ruled, faith now stands. Where despair once lingered, hope begins to rise. Not because the storm is gone, but because you are no longer alone in it. There's something deeply personal about this truth. Jesus knows your storm. He knows the details no one else does. He knows the hidden pain, the silent battles, the deep cries of your heart, and He doesn't just observe your storm from the sidelines. He steps into it with you. He walks through the rain, He weeps with you, He lifts you when you fall, He carries you when you cannot walk, and He stays even when others walk away. So whatever storm you are facing right now, look up. He is with you, not far off, not indifferent, but near, closer than your breath. The storm may rage, but it cannot steal His presence, and because He is with you, you have hope, you have strength, you have peace. Not because the waves are gone, but because the Master of the waves is in your boat. Trust Him, call on Him, rest in His presence, because Jesus is not only present in the storm, He is greater than the storm. God sees your struggles, even when the world doesn't notice, even when people overlook you, even when you feel invisible. God sees. He sees every tear that falls, every sleepless night, every anxious thought that runs through your mind. Nothing about your pain is hidden from Him. Others may not understand what you're going through. They might not know the depth of the weight you carry. You may smile in front of the world, but silently you're breaking inside. Yet God looks beyond the surface. He sees the heart. He sees what no one else can see. There are moments in life when we feel forgotten, left behind, unimportant. The silence can feel deafening. You pray, and it seems like the heavens are closed. You try to do the right thing, and still the battles come. You feel like you're walking through a dark valley with no end in sight, but I want you to know today, God has not turned his back on you. He has not forgotten your name. He has not missed one detail of your situation. The Bible says he counts the hairs on your head. That's how deeply and personally he cares for you. In the book of Genesis, Hagar ran away into the wilderness, broken and alone. She had been rejected, mistreated, cast aside. She had no one, but in that wilderness God found her. He spoke to her, he comforted her, and she gave him a name El Roi, which means the God who sees me. She discovered something in that desert that changed her life forever. That even when people cast her aside, God saw her. And if he saw her, he sees you too. Sometimes the enemy wants us to believe that God is too distant to care about our personal struggles, that our pain is too small or too messy to matter. But that's not the truth. God is not far away. He is near to the broken-hearted. He is with the crushed in spirit. When you cry, he catches every tear. When you ache, he feels that pain with you. Jesus himself walked the path of suffering. He knows what it is to be rejected, to be lonely, to feel forsaken. That's why he doesn't just sympathize. He understands. There is great comfort in knowing that God sees not only our actions, but our intentions, our motives, our hidden wounds. He knows the battles you're fighting behind closed doors. He knows the dreams you've had to bury. He knows the questions that keep you up at night, and even when answers don't come right away, even when you don't feel anything changing, his eyes are still on you. He watches over you like a loving father, not with judgment, but with compassion. When you feel like giving up, remember that God is not blind to your struggle. He is working even in the silence. He is moving even when you can't see it. He is preparing something good even through your pain, and when the time is right, he will bring you out stronger than before. You are not forgotten, you are not overlooked. You are deeply loved, and your suffering has not gone unnoticed. So hold on, keep walking, keep believing. You may be in the middle of the struggle now, but God is with you in it. And one day you will look back and see that even in your darkest hours, his eyes never left you. He saw you, he sustained you, and he brought you through, because that's who he is. The God who sees you, and the God who never lets go. You're not alone. That is a truth the world tries to make you forget. In your darkest moments, when it feels like no one understands, when the pain is too deep to explain, when the silence feels louder than any voice, it is easy to believe the lie that you are by yourself. The enemy of your soul wants to isolate you, to make you think that your struggle is unique, that your pain is pointless, and that no one would care if they knew. But the truth that breaks through all the lies is this: you are never alone. Not for a moment, not in the hospital room, not in the divorce court, not in the funeral home, not when you're crying yourself to sleep. God is with you. It's not just a cliché. It's not just a line we say to make people feel better. It's a divine reality that has been proven over and over again in the lives of those who trust him. God has promised over and over in his word, "I will never leave you nor forsake you." He is not a fair weather friend who disappears when things get hard. He is the friend who sticks closer than a brother. He is the shepherd who leaves the 99 to find the one. He is the father who runs to welcome his prodigal child home. That's the kind of God you have. Even when your feelings don't line up with the truth, God's presence is constant. Feelings change. Emotions rise and fall like the tides. But God's love and his nearness do not fluctuate with your mood or your situation. There are times when you might not feel His presence, but that does not mean He isn't there. In fact, some of the most powerful moments of God's presence are not felt. They are known by faith. They are known through the peace that doesn't make sense, through the strength that rises up in you when you should have fallen apart, through the gentle nudge that keeps you moving forward when everything in you wants to give up. God understands loneliness. Jesus Himself experienced it in the most painful way. He was betrayed by His friends, abandoned by those closest to Him, and even cried out from the cross, my God, why have you forsaken me?" In that moment, Jesus felt the depth of human loneliness, so that you and I would never have to be truly alone. Because of Him, we now have access to a presence that never leaves us, a love that never fails, a hand that never lets go. You are surrounded, even when you feel surrounded by fear or grief or darkness. You are surrounded by the presence of the Almighty, and not only do you have God with you, you have people. You may not see them yet. You may feel like no one understands, but there are people who have walked similar paths. There are people who care more than you know. There are communities, churches, friends, even strangers, who God will place in your life at just the right time to remind you that you are not walking through this life by yourself. Sometimes we have to open our hearts again to let people in. The pain of the past may make you want to shut everyone out, to protect yourself from more hurt. But isolation is a trap. Healing happens in connection. Strength grows when we link arms with others. And God often sends His comfort through human hands, through a kind word, through a listening ear, through someone simply showing up when it matters most. If you feel alone right now, talk to God, speak honestly, tell Him what you're feeling. He already knows, and then ask Him to show you that He's near. Ask Him to bring the right people into your life. Ask Him to reveal His presence in the middle of your situation. He will, He always does. He is closer than your next breath. You are not alone, so don't listen to the voice of fear. Don't believe the lie of abandonment. Lift your head, even if only a little. Look around. You are loved, you are seen, and you are not walking this path by yourself. God walks with you. His Spirit strengthens you. His Word lights the path ahead of you, and His people, whether seen or unseen, are praying, reaching, and standing with you. You are not alone, not now, not ever. The storm doesn't define you. That may be hard to believe when you're standing in the middle of it, soaked in sorrow, tired from the winds of life, wondering if you'll ever see clear skies again. But hear this truth deep in your soul: what you're going through is not who you are. The pain may be real, the loss may be deep, the failure may be fresh, but none of it can define the person you truly are in God's eyes. The storm may shape you, it may stretch you, it may even shake you to your core, but it cannot define you. Too often, we let our struggles become our identity. We go through a divorce, and suddenly we see ourselves as broken. We make a mistake, and we wear shame like a name tag. We lose a job, and we begin to think we're worthless. We fail at something, and we say we are a failure. But God never intended for your circumstances to be the final word about you. He calls you beloved. He calls you redeemed. He calls you chosen. You are not your past. You are not your wounds. You are not the labels others have placed on you, and you are certainly not the storm you're walking through. Think of the men and women in the Bible who walked through storms. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and thrown into prison. But that was not the end of his story. The storm didn't define him, God did. And God raised him up to become a leader who saved nations. Job lost everything: his wealth, his children, his health. But even in his pain he held on to God. His suffering was great, but it did not define him. God restored him and honored his faithfulness. Peter denied Jesus 3 times. That moment could have destroyed him, but it didn't. Jesus restored him, and Peter went on to lead the early church with boldness. You may have had moments that broke you, moments that left scars, but scars don't mean you're weak. Scars mean you survived. They mean you were in a battle and you made it through. The enemy would love to keep you trapped in guilt, shame, and fear. He wants you to believe that your mistakes are final, that your storm is who you are, that you'll never move beyond this chapter of your life. But the grace of God says otherwise. The grace of God declares that you are not defined by the storm, but by the one who walks with you through it. Your identity is not found in the opinions of people or the setbacks of life. Your identity is found in Christ, and He calls you more than a conqueror. He calls you a new creation. He calls you His child. That is your true name. That is who you are. The storm may be part of your story, but it is not the whole story. It is a page, not the title, and God is still writing. He's writing a story of redemption, of healing, of strength rising from weakness, of beauty coming from ashes. Do not let a single season of struggle convince you that this is the end. The storm is temporary, but your purpose is eternal. You were created for more than just surviving. You were created to live, to shine, to thrive, even in the face of trials. And when this storm passes, and it will pass, you'll come out with a deeper faith, a stronger character, and a greater compassion for others who are hurting. What once felt like your end will become a testimony of God's power and goodness. So stand tall, even if you're standing in tears. Lift your eyes, even if the skies are still gray. Speak life over yourself. Remind your heart that this storm will not define you. You are defined by the one who calms the sea, the one who walks on water, the one who speaks peace into the chaos. You are not the pain, not the failure, not the fear. You are a child of God, loved without limit, held through the storm, and destined for more than you can imagine. Let that truth settle deep in your spirit. The storm may rage, but it does not define you. There is hope beyond the storm. That may sound like a distant dream when you're in the thick of pain, when life feels heavy, when your heart is breaking, and you don't know if you'll ever be the same again. But no matter how fierce the winds, no matter how dark the night, no matter how deep the sorrow, there is a promise that stands unshaken. This storm will pass, and beyond it there is hope. Not just a hope to survive, but a hope to live again, to breathe again, to smile again, to dream again. Because with God, no storm is the end of the story. When we walk through suffering, it's easy to think that this is all there is. The enemy wants to blind you with fear and grief so that you can't see past today's trouble. He wants to convince you that your best days are behind you, that healing will never come, that restoration is impossible. But that is a lie. Our God is the God of resurrection. He brings life out of what looks dead. He brings joy out of mourning. He turns graves into gardens, and He brings beauty from ashes. He has never been defeated by a storm, and He never will be. And He has a future for you, a future filled with hope. You may not see it yet. The sky may still be dark. The thunder may still be rolling. But God is already preparing what comes next. He's already at work behind the scenes, piecing together things you can't yet understand. He's already planting seeds in the soil of your pain that will one day bloom into something beautiful. And sometimes it's in the storm that the foundation of faith is built. It's in the storm that you learn to trust, to lean, to depend not on your own strength but on His. And that trust becomes the very thing that carries you into the new season He has for you. Hope doesn't always come in fireworks or sudden breakthroughs. Sometimes it comes like a whisper, a small glimmer of light in the distance. A soft reminder in your spirit that says, "Don't give up. God is still with you." And that whisper of hope is enough to take one more step, to get out of bed one more time, to pray one more prayer, and with every step, with every moment of holding on, the clouds begin to break. Slowly but surely the light starts to shine again. The Bible is full of stories where hope rises after the storm. After the flood, God gave Noah a rainbow, a sign of covenant and promise. After the suffering of Job, God restored everything he lost and more. After the exile, God brought his people back to their land with songs of joy. And after the cross, when the world thought it was over, Jesus rose from the grave in power and glory. Every story of pain has a possibility of redemption when God is involved. Your story is no different. What you've lost, he can restore. What has been broken, he can heal. What's been taken, he can give back. Maybe not in the way you expect, but in the way that is perfect in his eyes. Hope is not a feeling, it's a choice, a decision to believe that what God says is more true than what your circumstances scream. It's a bold act of faith to say, even though I don't see the answer yet, I believe it's coming. And it's in that act of believing that strength begins to rise. Your hope isn't in the storm ending quickly. It's in the God who is with you through it all, and who promises to lead you out on the other side. The same God who calmed the storm on the Sea of Galilee is calming the storm in your life, moment by moment, breath by breath. One day you'll look back on this season, not with regret, but with awe. You'll see how God carried you. You'll see how he never left your side. You'll understand the growth, the purpose, the refining that happened in the middle of the chaos. And you'll be able to help others walk through their storms because you'll know that hope is real, that God is faithful, that healing is possible, that joy does come in the morning. So if all you have left is a thread of hope, hold on to it. That thread is stronger than it seems because God is the one holding the other end, and he will never let go. The storm is not the end of your story. There is life beyond the pain. There is purpose beyond the trial. And there is hope, real, lasting, God-given hope. Beyond this storm, keep walking, keep believing, keep trusting. The sky will clear, the sun will rise, and the God who was with you in the storm will be the same God who brings you into the peace that follows. The storms of life come to us all. They arrive without warning, shaking the ground beneath our feet, threatening to tear apart everything we thought was secure. But hear this truth: storms do not have the final word. God does. Through every crashing wave, through every tear, through every sleepless night, he is there. He is the anchor that holds when everything else gives way. He sees you, he knows your pain, he walks with you through the fire and through the flood. You are not forgotten, you are not forsaken, you are not defined by your struggle. You are defined by his love, his mercy, his calling on your life. Don't give up in the storm. Don't let the darkness convince you that the light will never come. Even when you feel alone, even when the silence is loud, even when your heart is breaking, God is closer than your next breath. And beyond this storm there is hope, a new beginning, a fresh chapter, a future filled with grace and purpose. Let this be the cry of your soul: though the winds blow, I will stand. Though the rain falls, I will trust. Though I walk through the valley, I will not fear, for God is with me. One day the storm will pass. The sky will clear. The pain will fade, and you will stand on the other side, stronger, wiser, and filled with the deep knowledge that you were never alone. You were always held in the mighty hand of a faithful God. And you still are, always,